All right. Thought I'd jump on here and do a short video since I haven't did one in a while. Kind of was gone last week again and kind of got a little lazy and then kind of got back to some old beliefs. So that's why I say it's always a work in progress because, I just kind of for the last few days was just like didn't feel like getting on here and doing anything. Kind of just been laying around. Uh, Still doing my meditations and still doing other stuff, but just like not getting that energy to get back on here and like, the thoughts of always come creep back in of, the like always the limiting beliefs, the imposter syndrome, as some people like to call it, like Dean Graziosi, and just some other things that you kind of get in that flow where you fall back a little bit. So it's always, like I say, two steps forward, one step back. So I want to be authentic to show the process of we're not always who we want to be, and sometimes you fall back into old patterns. So it's definitely a process, and not to get upset with yourself, not to get discouraged by it. I mean, yes, it gets frustrating at times, no doubt about it. It can, but in the end you just gotta realize that sometimes that's part of the process, because they say during those time periods you're releasing stuff, so you don't always feel yourself. I mean, yeah, I had a wedding to go to too, so alcohol kind of gets me, the hangovers and all that stuff kind of get me down for a little bit too for a few days. So the whole like process of it, and then saying, oh, should I get back on there? Can I get back on there? No, you don't want to get back on there. Oh no, you'll do it tomorrow. All those limiting thoughts and like things that the ego does to try to stop you from being you. Tries to like undermine your confidence, undermine everything that you think you should do sometimes. So again, the ego's like, it's needed, but it's also that thing that just it plays with your mind sometimes. It plays with everything. It makes you self doubt. It makes you not like think you're good enough, or it just tries to put things off because it wants to keep you in that state of not doing anything. It wants to keep you in that state of self doubt and all that stuff. So again, and then like I started doing some new meditations to kind of see what it feels like. And I remember Deepak Chopra, when I learned my first meditation, they talked about the gap, like the gap between your thoughts, like the space between your thoughts. And like, I like to look at it as like the gap between space and time. Like, they call like there's a field of infinite possibilities that we all can connect to, and that's what they say we fall into during meditation. Like the more we focus on the process, the more that we fall into that gap between space and time. It's like the stillness, the presence, the awareness of who you are. And others I've heard say that that's where they believe the soul exists, is like in that spot, and that we can get to it, but the ego stops us from getting there. So this was a good like introduction to kind of go with the ego and how it plays with your mind. So you want to go beyond it, and that's the purpose of meditation. And that's why there's always the thoughts, because when we start to try to go beyond the ego into that gap, into that space between time and where, infinite possibilities exist, the ego doesn't want us to go there, because the ego wants control over us. It wants control over our mind and all our thoughts and what we're doing and all that. And it knows that if we get beyond it into that space, that we can create anything from there. And it's man, it like I'm doing this new meditation, and it's like the void, and it just makes you feel that stillness inside of us. The gap isn't outside of us, the gap is inside of us. So that's why you got to close your eyes to be able to experience the gap, to experience the void, is because it's not outside, it's inside. And that's why we go inside into that gap, and then we bring that information, that feeling, that knowledge, whatever it is, Like some, I think quantum physicists believe like that's the source of all creation is the gap, and that everything in this universe, it's kind of like the Big Bang, I would think. Like everything in this universe springs forward through it, and that when we can go back inside of it, and we all have it inside of us, and if we can go back inside and touch it and feel it and bring it and get to that point, then you can bring forth, the highest version of yourself, the knowledge that you're like, where'd that come from? And I feel like sometimes that's what everybody does, that everything in this world was created from that. So and I think we can do it without meditation sometimes through other things, but I think meditation is also the easiest way to explain it, because once you get your body into that deep relax Jesus, I can't even speak, state of relaxation and awareness, then you're able to like relax and fall beyond the ego, and that's why we use mantras. And the primordial sound meditation we use mantras to get past the ego, the thoughts, and the intellect, because the ego has thoughts, and like everything that we create, everything in this world has a name, it has a label, it has a feeling, it has all these things connected to it. And then we use our mind, intellect, and ego to focus and like what's the word I'm trying to think of, like process all this stuff in the outside world, and then we make meanings and all this stuff out of it, where when we start to do the mantra that has no meaning, it's just a primordial sound that has no meaning, then it confuses the ego, intellect, and mind, and then it kind of almost like lulls the ego and all that to sleep, and then you're able to sneak past it into the void, into the gap, and stay there for a little while. But that's the thing in meditation, is like you'll have thoughts, gap, sleep. Like there's all kinds of, and I'm going to do a video about that, all the experiences you can have during meditation here eventually too. But like you have all these experiences, but the gap is the like most profound. They use primordial sound meditation as a way to get back to before we came into this world. Like we came from the gap into this world, into our bodies, into this being that we're in right now. So when you're not, like they say, the gap is a place of stillness, presence, infinite possibilities, and peace and wholeness. It's like the Wayne Dyer used to say, it's the one space that can't be divided, because it's infinite and it's zero. So you can't divide zero. It's stillness. So then by going back to this place of stillness, presence, infinite possibilities, and wholeness, then you can spend some time there, and then you can bring that better state of awareness, alpha state, better state of consciousness, maybe, and sometimes that's why you have epiphanies when you're meditating. When you come out of meditation, you're like, oh my God. Or at least it brings you to that level to where the epiphanies will come to you. And that's what I mean by like changing your frequency, changing your energy. By doing these practices, you change your frequency, you change your energy, and then you put that intention out into the universe. And then the universe sees it, feels it, and then it will send you the information you need. Now again, it might take the universe a little bit of time to figure it out and get the information to you. But then all of a sudden, like, you'll end up watching a video or reading a book or overhearing someone's conversation somewhere, or somebody might email you that hasn't talked to you in a while. Like, there's so many ways that it can come back to you. It's just that we don't think anything of it. We think it's just a coincidence, and it's not. When you put that energy out there, when you change the frequency through meditation, through going into the gap, through being in the void, through being in that space of infinite possibilities, then we're doing the work to create the reality, or attract the reality that's out there that we want to manifest in our lives. So it's definitely worth doing. So, and like I was doing the meditation of the void, and it's just when you come out of it, you're just like, wow, holy, you know what? And it's like, wow, you just feel a presence inside of you, and a peace and a calm, and you're like, whoa, this is pretty cool. So there's always like different states and different awarenesses that you can create through different kinds of meditations and where your focus is. And, by relaxing and being in that awareness and touching that gap every day, then you're able to bring that peacefulness that's from there, from the inside. And then that's what I mean by like getting in the inside and then using that inside, presence to push it out into the world. And it helps create better focus. It helps slow the mind down. I mean, God, before I started meditating, my mind never settled down. It still goes crazy from time to time, and a bunch of thoughts and all this stuff. But then with meditation, I'm able to reel it back in, and like it's not as bad as it used to be. When I was younger, I used to have a hard time sleeping sometimes. I still do from time to time now, but it used to be almost every night when I was in college. And now I'm kind of like, wow, it definitely helps. And I think I told the story before that at one of my first meditation retreats I went to, the lady said she had not got a full night's sleep in like 20 years. It was always broken sleep. And then when she started meditating, she had the first full night of sleep that she'd had in 20 years. That's just, astonishing. That's kind of crazy and amazing at the same time. So again, like I said, I always, just want to keep this I want to keep getting this information out there. If I take a break, it's just nothing personal. I'll always be back, and I'm going to try to be back stronger, better, and all that. So let's keep it going. Like and subscribe if you liked it. Just trying to get all this information out, because I feel like this is the stuff that we need to do. I mean, we live in a chaotic world where stuff's just coming at us. We got so much information and so much stuff from the outside world coming in. There's just so much, and that we need to be able to bring it back in and reel ourselves back in and focus and be in this moment and be in that gap, be in that void, be in this stillness that is, and that is you. We can all do it. It's that presence that's within us. And the more that we practice it, the more that we become it, and the more that we become more and relaxed and better. So again, that's my message for today. Bye.